So we have with us Dr. Ibrahim El-Shafie. Doctor, thank you so much for giving us the honor to be with us today and answer some of our questions. Let me start by introducing who you are, and I know there is a long list of achievement that you already accomplished, and let me just go through some of this. So some of your expertise, you are known, by the way, with that's what struck me first when I saw your biography. You are known for your famous lectures in Sydney universities.
Yes.
And so you are an expert in Islamic studies, Islamic science, studies of the Quran, Islamic jurisprudence, Islamic poetry. That was a little surprise for me, and I would like to hear some of that. You have a doctorate degrees in Hadith, Islamic history, modern science and technology, and various degrees in Arabic language, literature, grammar, and morphology.
Yeah.
I am saluting you for all your achievement, and I know I'm not doing justice because the list is very, very long. But so the subject today is the entire world is going through an unprecedented event, which is the COVID-19 thing. The whole world is in lockdown, and people are feeling like they're living in a dream state. There is no history about something similar to this. It's like a nightmarish scenario for a lot of people, and they have questioned: is this the end of Earth? Is this what this event means? And speaking of end of Earth, I would like you, Doctor, to talk to us a little bit about the end of Earth through the Islamic doctrine.
Yeah. I would like to start first by thanking you, Brother Fatah, for this opportunity to talk about these matters that are matters of concern for everyone now, regardless of his background. Everyone on earth, every living thing is concerned about what's happening, what's going around, where it's going to take us, where it's going to lead us, what's going to happen next. Everyone is anxious in a way. They want to know what are the expectations from different avenues, different angles. And now you gave me the opportunity to talk about our expectations from Muslims' point of view regarding this matter. Now, let me start first by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds. And we know that God created us on earth, and we know that the fact that one day every one of us will be facing death. So death is inevitable. So we cannot avoid this fact. So although many people do not feel comfortable talking about this topic when we mention death, but this is a fact that no one can avoid it. It doesn't matter how long they live on earth, one day they will depart. So from the previous eras and nations in the past, none of them are alive now. Everyone had departed this life. So we know this fact that this earth or the life on earth is not forever. It's not like eternal. One day we will depart. So the question that will arise first, I would say, a person would ask himself that question. So what's the meaning of my existence here on earth? If we were to compare our life with the life of those creations that do not have minds, like animals, we see a big difference between them. Animals eat, drink, sleep, mate, they reproduce. So our life is definitely not like their life. So we're not here on earth just to eat, drink, get married, have children, then our life will finish and so on. So we are for a greater purpose. And because we have minds, we are held accountable for our actions, in contrary to the situation with the animals who are not accountable. So we are accountable in this life for something greater while we are here on earth. So what's going to happen next? So once we think about the fact that we are not here forever and we are here for a period of time, then we will depart. So one will start thinking about, so why I'm here on earth? What's the reason? What is the objective of my life? So if we were to look at the Quran, what does it tell us? The Quran, the holy book of Muslims, that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, about 1400 years ago. Yeah, it talks about the reason why we are here on earth. God, the Creator, who created us, ordered us to worship Him. So when we look around and we see that every single thing is proof about the existence of the Creator. As we say, every building needs a builder, and every writing needs a writer. So if I were to look behind you, Brother Fatah, I see that tall building behind you. So I would say there must be engineers who designed that building. There must be workers who built that building. So it doesn't come by itself. Like you didn't just wake up one day and you saw that big building behind you built in this way. So the logic sense would determine that there must be a builder, there must be builders or engineers and the like who built that building. So what about this greatest universe around us? So if we look at the mountains, the clouds, everything in this universe is sign that there must be a creator who created everything, and that creator is the one who deserves to be worshipped, because only God, the creator, deserves to be worshipped. I don't deserve to be worshipped because I'm a human being like you. I eat, you eat. I get hungry, you get hungry. I feel thirsty, you feel thirsty. So whatever happens to you, I'm susceptible to the same factors. So I cannot be God, I cannot be a creator. I'm created. And 100 years ago, I did not exist. And one day I will depart. So I'm not a creator. So Muslims believe in the creator of the universe, the one who created everything, and that one day this world will finish. So this world was created for a period of time, and one day it will finish. It will not remain the same way it is forever. So one day everything will perish, everything will finish. So when we think about the purpose for our existence here on earth, that we are here, God created us, differentiated us from animals, so we are held accountable for our actions. So we need to live wisely and to think about being righteous people in this life and doing the right thing in all the aspects of our life. So when we think about all these matters, that will push us forward to think about being righteous slaves, not tyrant ones, not those who wrong others. So that's why all these thinkings about the day of judgment, that when we will be held accountable for our actions, the belief in such a matter will motivate us to be righteous in this life and to make sure that we are doing the right thing we are supposed to do, and not to follow our bad inclinations or our desires and the like. Rather, we need to do the right thing. So this universe is not forever. This universe is changing. And they talk about climate change now, global warming. They talk now about Antarctica. And even here, we are living in Australia, and they think because of the global warming, Antarctica is melting and the water is rising. And they expect that every year about 1 centimeter or something is covering from the land. So they expect that one day Australia will be underwater. So, and if we look at other aspects in this life, yeah, we know that changes are happening in this world. So that means the situation will not be the same forever. So this world is changing, and because it's changing, that means it's going to its end. So that's why we have to live our life wisely in the right way. once we learn about the purpose of our existence on earth, why we are here on earth, and we do the right thing, be good people, righteous people, do the right thing, guide others. So then we depart this world and we are comfortable that we have done what we were supposed to do.
Just to simplify your very eloquent answer and talk about our existence, why we exist in the first place, is it a purification place? Is that what Earth is? Is it like an airport where people go to different destination?
You can call it, yeah, you can call it a place of test. It's like when you go to university and you study for the whole year and you try your best to achieve good results at the end of the year. Then after 4 years, you finish your degree, for instance, and you hope to get the best marks. And some might put forth effort to get the highest marks. Some might be average, and some might be below average, and some might fail. So that depends on the effort they put during the degree until they finish. So people are different in the way they put forth effort to achieve something. So you find in this life people who are very keen to help others, those who are doing their best to guide and to do the right thing, and you find others who are negligent to themselves and negligent to their societies and the like. And you find others who are evil. They want to get what others have, and even by through like injustice. So they try to do that. So we are in a place of test, and that's why everyone will be judged on the day of judgment for whatever he did in this life. That's why when we believe in day of judgment, that it's not going to be like this, as simple as that. So you do whatever you want, then you won't be held accountable for your actions in the hereafter. Once we think that we are going to be held accountable, then I monitor my actions closer and closer, and I make sure that I only do the right thing that will save me on that day of judgment.
So going back to, thank you so much for that knowledge. But going back to the pandemic, people thinking about end of times. What are some of the signs, the smaller signs that the Islamic teaching talked about, or either Hadith or the Quran?
Yes, 1400 years ago, when Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, received the revelation, he was informed about some of the matters that will occur before Judgment Day. And these matters are divided into two categories: minor signs of the day for judgment and major signs of the day for judgment. The minor signs indicate that the hour is coming, the time is coming soon. But the major signs will tell us that it's coming sooner. So the minor signs will precede the major signs. And from the minor signs, the Prophet, peace be upon him, talked about many matters that will happen before the day of judgment. Amongst them, for instance, excessiveness in occurrences of earthquakes. And we started seeing this lately. Also about volcanoes. You know, like many idle volcanoes had erupted in the last year, and people did not expect, and they say this was for how many years, maybe hundreds of years. Now it erupted. So excessiveness in happening of earthquakes, volcanoes, and the like, they all show that the hour is coming. These changes are signs that the hour is coming. Also, the spread of diseases that people were unfamiliar with in the past. Now, take for example, before this pandemic disease, we talk about cancer. Cancer was not known in the past. In the past, if you read history, maybe you hear about leprosy, you hear about plague and other diseases from those ones in the past. Those people were familiar with them. But from the past century, we started seeing this cancer thing. Up to now, they haven't found a cure for it. They try with different ways, but they're not working. We know once a person is diagnosed with cancer, that's it, he's heading towards his deterioration, and his case deteriorates day after day until he dies. So that's something people did not know in the past. Also, this year, or the end of last year as well, to be more precise, we were shocked when we heard about this pandemic disease. It started somewhere in part of the world, started spreading quickly. Something that, honestly, I would think about it, people do not see. They don't know how they can contract that disease, how they get it. Suddenly it's spreading all over the world. All the technology, all the money, all the power that all these governments held as sovereignty in all these matters, now they became unable to do anything about it. Take, for example, America, that is a very powerful country. Look what's happening in New York and the like. So people, even in lockdown, they are experiencing problems. And I was reading one of the articles in news a few days ago that 66% of those that were admitted into hospital for COVID-19 were actually in isolation. So they were not mixing with people. So it's spreading quickly. People don't know what it is up to now, how they're going to cure people from it. So it's something scary. That will tell them, look, even if you have power, even if you have technology, even if you have all that, yeah, but you are still weak creation. And then that will make people resort to their creator and to think about what we have done, what wrong we have done in this life. So let them rethink, recalculate what they have done in this life, and see how they can reform, make a kind of reformation for what they have done in this life. So maybe they live life in the right way, because
so
obviously.
You think this is an assessment that someone has to do with their life? Or is it a warning? What is it exactly? And why?
Definitely it's a warning. Definitely it's a warning for every one of us, for all governments, for all countries, for all people, because there is no differentiation with this COVID-19. It's attacking anyone at any place, in any country. So one will find himself very weak in front of this unseen virus. He cannot see it, he cannot detect it, but suddenly he might be diagnosed with this disease. So it's something one needs to consider and think about. So what have I done? So this world, it doesn't matter if I have wealth, if I have power, I might be powerless in front of this unseen disease. So I need to think about, okay, living my life in the right way, because I know, like, you cannot change the fact that we are going to depart this life. So no one can change it, no matter what we do. Even if you were to build a castle and stay in it, put soldiers, guards, whatever, when it's our time to depart, we will depart this world. No one is living on earth forever. So that will make us rethink about our life, try to evaluate or make what you call it self-assessment to ourselves. Okay, what wrong I have done, and what should I do for the future? And I think everyone in this life, to a certain extent, would do this kind of self-assessment in different aspects of this life. So if, for instance, you are one day shocked with some bills that you are unable to pay, you start thinking, so what did I do? Where did I spend that is not necessary? So I need to rethink about all these matters to make sure that my wages are sufficient for my expenses. So I know you deal with business and all these matters, you are expert more than me, but when you talk about these matters, you start thinking, okay, so I need to make a plan where I'm winning in the end, not losing. So even that's in something simple in this life. So what about the way you are living your life? You think about the way you are living your life. You eat, you drink, just you follow your desires, your inclinations. That's it. Is that what you are supposed to do in this life? Now, if you compare your life with that of animals, as I mentioned, if you look at the animals, they eat, drink, mate, reproduce, and the like. So here you would say, yeah, definitely my life is not like them. I'm better than them. So I have a mind. So that means I'm here for a greater purpose. And here you start thinking and evaluating your actions, your deeds, and you see what you have done wrong in this life, and you try to rectify it before you depart this world. So it's like alarming for people, alerting them, okay, your end is coming soon. What have you done in this life? Because, you know, in Arabic, a human being is called insan. Insan is a human being. Insan in Arabic, he's called insan, the human being, because he forgets. He forgets. That's why God sent prophets for every era, for every people, to remind them, because one is not sufficient. So because after he reminds them and he puts them on the right track, and this prophet dies, then you see after a while people goes back to doing wrong things. They start robbing, killing, doing all these bad things. So they need someone to remind them again. So another prophet will come. So all the prophets came in that sequence, one after another. Whenever people are in need of someone to advise them, to guide them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a mercy, God sent these prophets to guide people whenever they are off the track.
I see. But what do you say to the people that are staying at home with this pandemic in despair, either financially or even mentally? People are depressed. People are. What do we say to humanity?
We say, let us take. Sometimes when you are anxious, when you are worried, when you are tired of thinking, even from work, you know, you take a day off. When you take a day off, you need to rethink about your life, everything you have done in this life, and you evaluate the way you are living and try to make your life a better one. So even if you are at home, even if you are in isolation, start thinking about all these matters, that you are on earth for a greater purpose, and this life, you cannot rely on it forever, because it's going to end, and you're going to depart this life. Think about, okay, I will take this time to rethink and reevaluate my whole life, and after this pandemic is gone, and I hope this will be very, very soon, inshallah azza wa jal, you start fresh. So it's like, for instance, you made the evaluation, you found that you are living your life in a wrong way. Now you want to live it the right way, you want to be a good person, and make that change. So these changes are motives for you to make that change. So these changes in the world are signs for us to make changes in our life to be better humans.
Now, in your teaching, faith of tomorrow, having faith for the Creator to provide, which is He provides for everything. He's the big provider. Yeah.
Of course. Imagine when you were born, and you were just a little child, and you did not have that ability to think, even about the sustenance, even about how to live your life. All these things did not exist. You were a child, and look, God provided you with either like parents that looked after you, or sometimes if one's parents are dead, let us say like a person might be born as an orphan, but God will facilitate for him someone to look after him, to support him, or his mother might do that job. And I would like to mention to you, brother, and that's the good example we mention to people. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born as an orphan. His father passed away when his mother was still pregnant with him. Then his mother lived with him up to only 6 years. When he was at the age of 6, she passed away. So imagine this child whose father passed away before even he's born. His mother passed away when he was at the age of 6, and despite all that, he became the best example to all of humanity. He became with the best ethics, manners, and all that. And it was mentioned when he started the calling people to Islam after he received the revelation, same as the previous prophets. So when he started this call, some people made fun of him. Some people did not accept his call, and some people believed in him when they saw him a good example for the righteous people. And to the extent that when he started telling people, this is not the way you should live. You know, at the time of the Prophet, when he received the revelation, we know that the orphans were deprived of the inheritance. So they look at them as weak ones, so they deprive them. Even women used to be deprived of inheritance. They weren't given the slightest rights as human beings. But when Islam came, gave everyone his right in full. So the lady now is respected. The lady now has a status. She can do business. She can do such and such. And that's why we all know that the Prophet married to Lady Khadija. That's his first wife. And he stayed with her until she passed away. Khadija was a successful tradeswoman. He worked for her at the beginning, then she married him, and they lived together a very happy life together. So he did not say to her, look, you're a woman, you should stay at home and the like, you should not work, you should not go out and the like. So when one looks at all these simple things, he will say, okay, so what I see now in some parts of the world, let's say Afghanistan and the like, and they talk about oppression for ladies and the like, they say, no, these are not the teachings of Islam.
That's more
these
cultural, right?
Yeah.
It's more
These
cultural than anything else.
Islam. They have, and unfortunately, they want to paint them with religion when they are not. So do not use religion in these wrong concepts that you have. Islam is a religion that calls for justice. Everyone would have his rights in full. I'll give you, like, because we're talking about all these signs of the day for judgment. So when I mentioned that from the signs of the day for judgment, the Prophet taught us about is when daughters treat their mothers as servants. Now you see some daughters, when they talk to their mothers, Mom, get me this, get me that. And mom is working hard all day at home, cooking, cleaning, and the like. When that girl comes back from school, let us say, oh, Mom, did you get me this? If she says no, she starts screaming at her mother. That's from the signs of the day for judgment. So as if her mother is a servant for her. That's not the case. You should respect your mother. You should come back from school and help your mother. How do you want me to help you, Mom? So we can see that many things in the society have changed, unfortunately, to the worse, not to the better. And that's why when they think about all these matters, we have to do something. And let us make a difference. Let us change. So if I were to mention this, I'm just a human being in billions. So my voice might reach thousands, but that's not enough. So everyone has a role to play in this life to make sure we are heading towards a better life. So not to be greedy about money, about all these things. So now what you mentioned, I said, yeah, even if you have a financial problem, that should not push you towards being a bad person. You start from now about robbing a bank, you think about doing such and such. No. Be satisfied with what God gives you. And if you were to compare your life, compare it with those who are less advantaged. That will make you more satisfied with your life. So now, at least we can eat, we can drink. So even if we are in isolation, today I was told that from those, who came recently to the country and they are isolated in hotels in Australia, they are calling them, do you want anything? They're giving them food and the like. So even if they are in isolation, so they are living a way better life than those maybe in Somalia, in some parts of the world, in Africa, where they don't have even clean water to drink. So don't worry, do not overthink about all these matters. So remember that God who gave you the sustenance when you were a child and you were unable to seek any of the means of survival, you survived. So now you can survive. So be optimistic. So even when it finishes, I'm sure everything will go back to normal. But and you start working and you start fixing the things that you think needs a bit of fixing in this life. But do not be pessimistic about life for the future. Be optimistic and think about being positive in your life towards yourself first and towards others as well, and try to be a better person. So let us learn that lesson. Okay, God showed us how weak we are with this pandemic disease, how weak we are, and that even if you have money, power, whatever, you will be standing powerless in front of these things that God showed us. So do not use your power to inflict injustice upon others. If you have power, use it to help others with this power, not to wrong others or to commit injustice against them.
That's wonderful. So just to close our session, and thank you so much for the very wise word that you shared with us and the knowledge. Just to close the session is the message of the day for those who are feeling depressed at home, or are worried about tomorrow, or are worried about losing their job, or they having family conflict, whatever your situation is. Despair generates more despair, and pessimistic views will generate a little bit more hardship. So have faith, count your blessing, and tomorrow will be a better day because you are provided for. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, we know, brother Fatah, just as an example, you know, for instance, the modem, internet modem at home, even when you use it excessively along the days, it freezes. And sometimes you need to reset it. When you reset it, it starts fresh again and so on. So let us consider this time of isolation as the resetting button for ourselves. We reset, then we start fresh. We're optimistic, and we don't worry, because God is the one who provides sustenance to the slaves. Even the creatures in the belly of the earth, like worms, if you dig now maybe 10 meters, you find a worm that is eating. So don't worry. So the sustenance will reach you, and it's written for you before you are born. So you don't have to be pessimistic about your life in the future and start thinking about all these worrying things. Rather be optimistic, but I would say think about how to better yourself for the future. Take this time as a time like cooling off period for yourself from all the temptations around the world, and think about starting fresh after this pandemic, inshallah.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you taking the time, and I hope we can do another session for other subject another day if you have time. And
yeah, I don't mind. My pleasure. Will be my pleasure, inshallah.
That's great. And we say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.